Hello everyone, I'm Kelly Jo from the Volunteer Times, and I'm standing here today with Maggie Inchko of La Follette. We are at Baker's Forge Cemetery out in Demery, to which Maggie had a rather heartbreaking discovery earlier this week. Maggie, tell us a little bit about what you discovered.
On March 17th, I came by to pay my respects to my mommy and daddy, and when I pulled up, I discovered that the concrete vases that's on either side that I always place flowers on was missing. They had real pretty red flowers in them, and both of them was gone. And of course, I got very upset. I called and reported it. We made a police report, but in the meantime, while waiting on the officers, I had started looking and counting my uncles. They had taken one of his, not both, but one. And several other stones had been, the side vases are just gone. Some of them are broke off where they tried to get them and couldn't, and broke them trying to get them.
We're going to let you all see close-ups on some of these stones here in just a moment, but we wanted to note, of course, this is not the fault of the cemetery or any workers or anything like this. Can happen anywhere, and that's really why we wanted to do this segment, because we know that Memorial Day is coming up, and a lot of people will look for opportunities such as this to steal these vases because they are very expensive, and they'll take them off of these headstones. They can take them to flea markets in various places and they'll resell them. In this particular case, we've gone back 3 rows.
Yes.
And the first row over here, for a total of how many headstones?
It was a total of, I thought, 16 headstones, 26 vases.
We did count 26 vases.
Yes.
Were missing. Now, whether or not all of those were taken at the same time on this particular incident last week,
right,
we're not for certain, but they do look like they have been freshly removed, and we'll kind of let you look at the surfaces. Some of them, like Maggie said, have been just completely broke off, where they tried to remove it and the vase gave way and left its base attached, basically. The others, of course, were what you would call a clean break. So,
like my mom and dad's. And I would like to add, Kelly Jo, my dad passed away in 2003, and this tombstone is the last thing my mama bought him. And she picked out the tombstone. She loves the vases, and that's why we got this. You know, that's why I'm really upset. And tomorrow's the date of my mother's death. So at this time, I would be placing my sisters and I and my brother would always go in together and buy flowers, and we'd bring them out here and place them on the date of their deaths, and at Christmas and Valentine's Day and all that. And this year's going to be a whole lot different because we can't do that. And a friend of ours always put a flag in my dad's, because he had put a flag holder, which he does a lot of graves around through here, and he won't be able to do that this year because, of course, it's gone. So, but this is the only second incident since 2003. The first one was flowers, which they could have blew off and someone got them and tried to sell them, but no fault, again, of the graveyard or any workers. They've always been amazing. It's always clean. You can see now it's very well kept. Mm-hmm. And our brother passed away back in November, and his looks great. They keep adding dirt and grass, you know, the seeds and stuff, so they do wonderful.
It's a beautiful cemetery. It really is. And again, this isn't the fault of a cemetery or any caretakers or anything.
No.
This is vandalism. And that's why with the approaching holiday, you know, people are going to be decorating those headstones, but people will also be looking for purchases to decorate headstones. And we want you all to be aware, you know, that you know, if you're buying these things at flea markets, you might want to check into that a little bit further. Maybe look underneath it, see if that looks like it's, I mean, I'm sure that could be buffed off,
right,
but you know,
just
think a little bit before you purchase anything. But we also want you to be aware, you know, when you go to our grandparents' cemeteries, our great-grandparents, you know, where we're decorating areas of the cemetery that might not be so visible now, maybe in the further corners. We really need to keep an eye on those for missing items such as these vases.
And if you see that, like she said, if you buy that, please report that. We have made a police report, and if you come out here and your loved ones, the vases are gone, please make a police report so they can have that information, so if they do find them, they'll know who to contact.
If you do have any information pertaining to the vandalism that occurred here at Baker's Forge amongst these cemetery headstones, please feel free to contact the Campbell County Sheriff's Department. We'll show the number on the screen. There's also a reward that has been put up for anyone that has information.
And thank you Kelly Jo, for taking this time on a Sunday, cold, windy afternoon to meet me out here and to do this, because it's not only for our family, it's for everybody else's family that's buried out here, because, I just can't imagine, and some of them are young mothers with infants. I mean, this is very, very sad that somebody took that from these families.